Welcome to Week Gen C.
Focused on young adults in the Northwest.
And their careers in a post-pandemic world. What do you need to get that dream job?
We get the know-how, the tips and the tricks from local employers.
Helping you get to where you want to be in your chosen career.
How's it going, Gavin?
I'm good, Connor. How are you?
Cheers, thanks for coming and chat with us. So tell us about OneSource Virtual and how did you end up in the role you're in?
Okay, so OneSource Virtual are an American, Texas-based IT solutions company. We focus on HR and finance solutions, mainly around an application called Workday. So we've been in Derry now for just over 5.5 years. And we're in the Patrick Street old city factory building, so great location right in the middle of the town there. It's fantastic. We're looking forward to getting back into it at some point because we're all working from home. That's where I am right now. I'm in my home office. I joined effectively when OSV first came to Derry, and the purpose of the office in Derry was to support the European operations because the company was primarily focused on the US. And we are the European Service Centre. We're probably sitting around 90 employees at the moment. I think we had probably gone over 100 only for last year where a number of things were put on hold due to COVID, but we're ramping up right now. I think by the time we get back into the office, hopefully which will be the summertime, we'll have about 20 to 25 new recruits just from the turn of this year. So it's been quite a rapid bit of growth. I ended up in OSV or OneSource Virtual kind of by chance. I was working for a Swiss company and I was actually in Zurich, and I got sent an email by my wife to say this company are come to Derry. I've never heard of them before, had to do a bit of Googling, but I had heard of Workday and that interested me. And I was very keen to get involved in a new organization that was setting up in Derry for the first time, because I was actually home working for, a Swiss company, traveling between Zurich and London, etc., which all sounds great, but I actually wanted to get something closer to home and be part of something new in Derry. So yeah, hence how I got into the role I'm in now.
Cheers. And when you finished school, did you have a specific career plan?
I did not. Well, I thought I did. When I first finished school, let's put it that way, I left. I'm from Donegal, by the way, so I did my leaving certificate, so not A levels. I didn't go straight to university. I had a bit of an idea of what way I wanted to go. I was going to go on a retail management program with a company I was working with at that time, and it didn't quite work out. So I worked in a few different jobs for a while. I worked in Seagate and Limavady, actually, and and that was a great education because I realized I don't want to be spending 12 hours a day in a factory. It was the best education I think I've ever had, and that made me think about my future direction. So at the time, I'm a little bit older than you guys. This was around the late 1990s, and IT, of course, was huge and getting bigger. So I went and I applied to university to do a business IT degree, and I haven't looked back since. So that's sort of stayed in IT forevermore since that point.
Cool. And do you think it's important for young people to have a career plan, or is it more nowadays it's more important to get a job and get experience?
Say the best education I had was doing a job I didn't like to be able to direct me down a route to do something else. I think it's a good idea to have an idea about what you want to do. If there's something that you're passionate about, I think, certainly if you're passionate in something and it's something you can have a career in, well, I think that would be fantastic to just think that you can actually end up in a job that you're doing something you actually love doing. I don't know if I meet everybody every day says, I actually love working in IT. It's a good career, but I probably look at enviously other people and their jobs that where they might get a lot more job satisfaction out of it. So I think it is important to have a view, of course, but not to get too hung up over it, because when you're 16, 17, 18, yes, decisions are important. But I went back to university at the age of 21. Course directed very, very quickly around that, and it's worked out very well for me since then. So I wouldn't get hung up on saying that at that point in time you have to have your life mapped out, because
That's what I mean. I know, because I'm only 19, and a lot of people last year in my year would think, I have to go straight to uni, I'm under all this pressure. But I've talked to a lot of people during this week, and it seems it's never too late to change career paths and go for what you want to do, or go for something that works.
Yeah, totally agree. It's never too late. My passion actually outside of what I actually work in is I love property, and one of these days I keep saying to myself, I'm going to move into doing property, and that's always in the back of my head. I've dabbled a little bit down through the years, but it's certainly not too late, even for an old codger like me.
It's on the pipeline. If you're hiring someone, what's the main attribute you would look for in that person?
I was just doing an interview today. Funnily enough, I just finished up one before I came onto this interview. And you're doing a better job than I was.
Cheers.
What am I looking for? For the guy I was talking to, what I felt was very important when I was talking to the guy is that it's not about me just making a decision about whether that person is right for the company. It's ensuring that the individual feels that the company is right for them. It's a very important thing. It's a two-way decision. It's not just about whether we think that candidate A or B is going to be good for OSV. It's an important decision for the applicant, and is it going to be right for them? Is it going to be right for their career development? Are they going to get job satisfaction out of it? And when you're going into a job, you've got to think to yourself, this is not the only job I'm ever going to do. What am I going to get out of this job? Am I going to get growth out of it? And that was exactly what I said to the guy today, that, I appreciate that people will not stay forever, but when they're here, we want to develop them. And when they move on to better things. That's key. So what am I looking for in the individuals? I'm looking for that appetite for growth. Certainly looking for, I don't want somebody to say, well, in 5 years time, I want to be the CEO of your company. Well, that's, I say, well, good for you. But, let's just have a few, manage your expectations slightly on that front. Sorry, it's just a car moving here. I'll just stop a second.
With online profiles being so important now, what can a young person do to ensure it doesn't affect them negatively?
Okay, so you're talking about social media?
Exactly.
That is a good question. I think you've got to be sensible with your social media, in terms of what, and thinking about how it may affect you in the future. Certainly could, if it was, we've seen cases of that, certainly, where misuse of social media has actually affected somebody's employment opportunities, or it's actually impacted on a current role, because when you're working for a company, you're working for that company, and your projection of that company as well. You're living the values of that company. And we would say, if we're having a night out, for example, in Derry, after work, and if we're organizing it, we will impress on people, excuse me, that you're still representing the company, so we feel responsible on that front. So you just got to think about that as well too. Just being careful what you're posting from a social media perspective. Many person my age will say, thankfully there wasn't social media about when we were growing up, because I don't think I'd want everything that I've done, and we were all young at one time as well. But that would I've wanted to have filmed everything, every interaction or everything I've said down through the years, and jokes or whatever to be posted? Probably not, because you don't get the context of it. So I certainly do think you need to be careful.
Definitely, because it's such a, nothing's a secret anymore, especially with things like Twitter. Like, everything's just out there, isn't it? You gotta be careful.
This is it.
What are some of the transferable skills that employers look for in applicants?
I suppose it depends, transferable, if it's a first time job, again, it's that, when I look at somebody, if they're at a grad level coming in, you're going to look at their ability to learn. Well, that's going to be demonstrated in the fact that you've gone through, further education. But it's the, if we can see where maybe extracurricular or what they've done, in their education, whether that be, teamwork, leading, I think that's really important to see that as well too. We're not looking for everyone to be coming in and just be leaders straight away. You want to see that people actually are able to work on their own initiative as well, and show that initiative. And I think that's what you're looking for, because, I think for a lot of companies, and I'll say we were one of those as well, we've only started taking on graduates in the last couple of years, because the first couple of years we were starting off effectively new. And we know you need to invest a lot of time in people if it's their first job. And we didn't feel we didn't have the scope really to be able to offer that support. So that, so we were fully aware that if you're bringing graduates in, that you have to treat a graduate slightly different than you would somebody who's coming from a second or third or fourth job. And that's something that we've put a lot of time in to think about how we actually support our graduates through a graduate program.
100%. Well, Gavin, thanks for coming and talking with us. Appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks.